Hey everyone, so it is Friday. Everybody's getting ready to take the weekend off, and there are some people who will never see a weekend because they are being shuffled as part of the human trafficking issue that is happening. So today we are going to raise awareness for human trafficking in the effort to end it, and we're going to have a little benefit that will help support ending this horrible situation. And so to do that, we're going to have a few guests with us talking about the efforts that they're doing, the impact that they make in the world, and how you can become part of it. So to get that started, we are going to chat with the woman, the brainchild, the woman who's this is brainchild, PR Christina. And she's the volunteer that is helping set all these things, the day, the event, the benefit up. So Christina, hey, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. So first of all, thank you for doing that. What an horrible issue to deal with. I'm sure on the other side, it's not easy at all. So if you can tell us why, what's going on, and what the benefit is for, and what we are going to see today.
I got a group of colleagues together, and we had been meeting with some organizations here in Houston, learning a little bit more about the human trafficking problem, not really realizing exactly how bad it was. A lot of people think that it's a problem overseas or near the borders or something like that, and we really had our eyes open to exactly how intense it actually is here in Houston, and how parts of Houston are actually red light districts for human trafficking. A lot of the problem is not just voluntarily, women voluntarily going into this type of like profession for themselves. And I think that's where a lot of the disconnect happens with people. And so some volunteers and I wanted to get together and really just raise awareness about what's going on, that women are actually being captured into this type of problem or issue. They're being held against their will within the human trafficking, and they're being threatened. They're not able to leave. And so we're working with a couple organizations to help bring that awareness, and we decided to do an art show to help really show visual awareness of exactly what's going on.
Wow. So that's so I live in Austin and I'm Israeli, and I've heard that, but I've heard about human trafficking, never thinking this is in the US. Like I thought,
Exactly.
this is Africa, or I don't even know.
Yes.
So how did you become aware of this situation and like just realizing what's happening here in our own backyard?
So, living in Houston, there's actually quite a few organizations that are working against it, which is great because it is such a huge problem here in Houston, but is also a problem in Austin and smaller towns that you would never expect it to be a problem in. And so when I started talking to some of these organizations, I realized exactly how great of a problem it is and how we really need to do something about it, because people aren't aware that it's actually happening here in our communities. They're thinking that, like you said, it's happening in third world countries or near the border or in places that aren't necessarily, around the corner from our backyard. And so just bringing some awareness to everyday people that don't realize exactly what's happening, and that these women aren't going into it voluntarily.
Is there ever, this is kind of interesting because you're like, is there ever a volunteer, like anyone walking today voluntarily going like, yeah, please, sell me?
Right?
So what's the difference between, like, because you bringing this up, you're like, they don't go into this voluntarily. Why do you say that?
Because I think that's the stigma around, prostitution. And so a lot of people assume these women are doing it on their own, that they're choosing to go into this type of lifestyle. And a lot of times it's not the case. Many times these girls are younger than they're being trafficked for.
Oh, wow.
So, men are saying that they're over 18 when actually they may only be 13 or 14 years old. They're being coerced online. and brought into these relationships with older men, being told that they're loved and that they're going to get anything that they want. And then eventually, once they're in these relationships, then they're threatened to basically become a part of the trafficking scene, and they're threatened if they try to leave. And so it's a much more common problem than I even realized, which is why it's so important to me now, and why I'm working with these organizations, and why I've recruited some of these volunteers and some really amazing people here in Houston to help create some awareness and put on this event to help fight this here in Houston, but just, create awareness everywhere, because it is such a problem and people don't realize it.
Well, wow, thank you. So I guess the first person we are going to speak with is from the United Women Trafficking, right?
Yes,
and so go ahead.
And so I'll bring her in.
Okay. So we're, as you're watching us, the way that you can help support this is by supporting these organizations that are making a difference every day in people's lives. We're going to learn in a second how their efforts on the ground are actually changing lives. But in order to do that, they really need your support. And the way that you can support it, we have in a little competition today, little contest. Basically by sharing the watch page where you're watching it right now, and sharing the hashtags that are freedom HTX. And I should probably put this up. I'll put it up in a second so you guys can see the hashtags and all that stuff. By sharing this, you're going to get a shout out on the Growthly Facebook page. So you can be creative and have fun with it. And most of all, if you really want to help stop this change, then you can help us by just going to this page. And I'm going to share it for a second. And just choose, open your wallet and grab a ticket, and you can basically donate however much you want right here. So however much you can help, all this money goes to these organizations, and it will help these girls, like keep girls basically out of the trafficking situation. So if you want to do that, that would be great. And so now I see that we have the United Trafficking against Human Trafficking. Hi. So no idea what your name is.
My name is Jenna Cooper. I'm with United Against Human Trafficking. I serve as the Manager of Outreach Services.
So hi, awesome to meet you. So tell us, like, what United Against Human Trafficking actually do?
Yeah, so we are a local nonprofit here in the Houston area, and we try to address and end human trafficking in our area through education, awareness, and direct outreach. So really, what does that look like? We actually go, we train frontline professionals, so law enforcement, healthcare providers, social service providers, educators, on what is human trafficking, what they can look for, and how they can respond. And then we also work with youth. We go in the community and we do direct outreach so that we can strategically target vulnerable populations and actually connect them to the services that they need. And then we also spread a lot of awareness in the community by engaging and just educating about the topic.
So how do you know who to help? Like how do you find whoever is trafficking and actually save women out of that? Is that something you do?
Like finding the neighborhoods that it's affecting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we know that there are vulnerable populations. So homeless youth and young adults, those involved in the criminal justice system or child welfare system, and those who've immigrated to our country, specifically the Latinx community. So those are kind of our focal areas for our direct outreach. So we have a few different ways in which we actually go. We provide education, but we also let them know about the resources in the community. And then as for the frontline professionals, human trafficking really intersects with so many different industries and populations. So that's why we really try to just talk to as many people as we possibly can so that more people, more frontline professionals, more community members can really know what to look for and help in the identification process.
So do you ever find that, people like that you start talking to people and they're like, oh my God, I know that, my neighbor or my friend, or I've heard about this and I know someone who's actually doing something about this. Is that ever coming up?
Yeah, so we actually have, so we receive credible tips all the time. So if you are that person that's maybe, in your neighborhood and you see something kind of a little sketchy, or maybe you know someone or hear something, please don't be afraid to call our organization or go to our website. But then there's also the national number. So our number is 713-874-0290. So you can definitely call us and report a credible tip. And then we work with our partners and send that credible tip to them. But then you can also call the national number. So that is really open 24/7. You can call them anytime to report a credible tip, or you can even text Be Free.
Oh, that's
What
an
is
easy
it?
way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
A
What's
text
that?
option.
Say it again.
So they have the text option that if you have a tip of something's kind of sketchy going on, or there sometimes I'll see like a massage parlor that's probably not a massage parlor, or something like that that's being passed off as something that you're probably sure is not the case. That's a good idea to have that text option, that instead of feeling like you're put on the spot that you need to talk to somebody, you can just send a quick text and this is what I saw and this is what's going on.
Yeah, and you can call the hotline too and report anonymously. So the number is 888-3737-888. So it's really easy to remember. I highly recommend just programming it into your phone so that you always have it. So you can call anonymously if you don't feel comfortable sharing your information.
So, what is the best way for people to actually support you, aside from calling and reporting? And, so for example, I'm assuming I'm a very normal person, just, like every other person out there who's kind of hearing about that stuff, not very involved, not really aware of what's happening. How can I know, oh, something is happening, something is going on, and I need to get involved?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I kind of want to take a moment before I tell you about some red flags and what to look for, just to kind of define human trafficking, because there's so many misconceptions and stereotypes around it. So we kind of tend to think that human trafficking is just a sex crime affecting women, but that's not necessarily the case. There is a huge labor component to human trafficking. So if we look at the issue globally, labor trafficking is actually the more prevalent form of human trafficking. It's estimated that about 21 million people are enslaved globally. And there's actually been studies to look at Texas, and they're finding that an estimated of 313,000 individuals are in a trafficking case or situation here in our state. Of that, 234,000 are in a labor trafficking case. So we're talking about
here in Texas itself.
Here in Texas itself, and then so that means that 79,000 are actually estimated to be in a commercial sexual exploitation situation. So really, this affects so many different industries: agriculture, construction, restaurant. We have domestic servitude situations where people are basically forced to clean houses, be the nanny, watch kids, and they can't leave. So really, when you're out in the community, just be aware. Look for the red flags. Look for people who can't really speak for themselves. Maybe you're going to get your nails done or your hair cut, and you start trying to engage with the woman or the man who's doing your nails or cutting your hair, but yet the manager kind of runs over it and won't let that person speak.
Oh, wow.
Or if someone comes to your house and tries to sell magazines and DVDs, try to engage in a conversation, see if they're in a situation that they can't leave, and then use that number, use that hotline, and give it to them and say, if you need help, there's resources in the community. There's also a lot more red flags that you can look for, and we have a lot of information on our website. So if you go to www.uaht.org, information will be there for you to kind of look at and pass along, because that's a huge thing that community members can really do, is just keep talking about human trafficking, because the more people that know, the more people that we can help in this situation.
That makes sense.
Oh, wow, that is a lot of stuff. So thank you so much. So as we are switching to our next guest, which is Landing Hillary live, then thank you so much, Jenna and Christina. And we are, as we're flipping to our next guest, let me just, guys, share with you how you can come in and talk to these experts face to face. So all you have to do if you want to join us is basically, let me share my screen right here, is to come to this page of Growthly. And right here on the top, there is a green button that you can click and it will open a Hangout and you will join us in the Hangout just like this, see? Just click yes, and you'll be in the Hangout with us, speaking to these experts face to face and asking them whatever it is that you need to ask them, that you want to ask them. So let me close this thing and let me just tell Elizabeth to keep it quiet there in the background, or Josh, we're hearing you guys.
Oh my God, why are you telling me what to do?
This is what I do. That's my job.
You're not the boss of me.
I'm very much of you,
We
lady.
actually have a slight change in schedule. Hey everybody, I'm Elizabeth Hamilton. You have seen me running around Houston. You also see me running around with Efat. We are here with one of our artists, Wendy Young. I always want to call you Wendy Lightwalker.
That works.
But Efat, take it away with Wendy.
Okay, so hi, Wendy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, me too. So you are an artist and your art is supporting the benefit of ending human trafficking. So how did you even get involved with that?
Well, you know what, a couple of months back, I saw a post on Facebook and I thought to myself, that's interesting. I'd like to be a part of it, and got busy. And then I saw another post and I think I said, I'm interested. And well, that's all it really took.
That, you know, it's like, it's really just about getting emotionally hooked, right? And caring about something enough to do something about it.
Yeah, if I can play a small part, then I'm all for it.
And so what did anyone ask you, like, hey, you're an artist, can you do something to end this thing? And you're like, yeah, I know what I'm going to do. Or was it kind of like,
well, yeah,
hey, can you help us with this thing?
My work is about healing with art. So it just made sense. And I create products that are all about healing. And so I'm very sensitive to the traumas caused by human trafficking. Personally, I've not had experience. I've had trauma. I know how difficult it is to heal from that. And so I'm all about the healing,
That's awesome.
Healing.
So that's really great. So so tell us about the art and what you're doing.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. I am going to be creating art. I'm donating a piece of art around, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I'll go ahead and hold it up.
Yes.
I have an image. It says, I love you. And I created it 10 years ago out of a mystical experience that I had, which I won't get into today. And I've created it over the past 10 years in various mediums. And so recently I was inspired to take several of my images, 10 of my images that I created a few years ago when I personally was going through a difficult time with my mother. And so I took them, scanned them, and I shrunk them down small enough to fit inside of this little bag with the image on it that I've painted. And it comes with a little instruction booklet that helps guide people through a prayer. So they're using the art as a meditation tool and as a tool to help them say a prayer, which is all about healing, which is about bringing light to the situation, forgiveness, finding light within, feeling better. So that's what my work is about. And I am donating a few of these little bags with the art and the instruction booklet for a door prize. I'm also including a little bit larger piece of art in the gift bag, as well as the original piece that I'll be painting. So this is what my work's about right now. I'm really feeling very guided to put this out in the world. And then this came about. I mean, I guess that's what's so interesting, that, we all know that it really is time to end human trafficking. It's time for whoever's been caught up in it to heal, to do what they want to do with their lives. That, you know, we are human beings with rights, and so that's what I'm about. I want to be a part of that. So
that's beautiful. And Elizabeth, so I'm sorry, you are donating this art. How can people get access to that?
Well, if you're in Houston, there's one way to get a hold of this art, and that's to come to the gala itself. It's bit.ly.com/path to freedom HOU. $97 gets you a ticket to the gala, gets you the goodie bag, which will have one of the prints in there done by Wendy. These are gorgeous prints, perfect for hanging, ready to go. We also will have her work for sale with the benefits going to the 3 different charities.
So let's talk about the gala. When is the gala? What's happening in the gala? How do people get to the gala?
We have so much going on. Not only are we having an art show with people like Wendy, we also have photographers and other people in the community. We have catering. You're actually going to get to talk to the caterer next, or well, in a few minutes anyway. We're going to have DJs. We're going to have photo booths. We're going to have swag bags. We are going to have so much fun stuff going on that you won't believe you're saving the world.
So that's the beauty of it, right? You can save the world and have fun at the same time and meet really, really interesting people. So as you have my face on screen for a second, let me see if I can bring up Facebook comments right here, if I can connect to them. So we'll see who's with us. There we go. Yay. So Angelica is here.
We got some comments.
Yeah, and Patricia is here watching. So we'd love to see you guys joining us right on the stream here itself. So let me see if I can get some of the YouTube things. There we go. So if anyone's on YouTube and you're commenting and you're joining us, we will be able to see you right here. So what you'd want to do is stop watching us on Facebook and actually come into the page and speak with us live. And let me show you how you do that. So the way that you do that is you basically come to this domain, growthly.com and /watch. And you'll be on this page right here like this, watching us. See, there you go. Watching us right now without all those interfering things. So you could click on this little button and you can join us. And every time I do this, Elizabeth is like starting to make noise in the background. I don't know why.
Because I want your attention on me.
So and we have a great guest, a new guest for us in the studio. Joining us live from Houston is
Hi, I'm Hillary Scherer, and I'm here with The Landing.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about that stuff.
So The Landing is a daytime drop-in center here in Houston. We're on Bissonnette between 59 and the Beltway, and we are a place for survivors of human trafficking and those in the commercial sex industry to come and get a trauma-informed approach of caring that's fueled by the love of Christ. And we are a place that they can come and get services right in-house, get basic needs, and also referred out to other organizations that provide other services that we can't provide. We just want to give them a loving place that they can come and rest and meet them wherever they're at on their journey and serve them here in Houston.
So if I understand this correctly, when someone escapes human trafficking, that's when they get to you to go through like an emotional journey, healing from what they've been through?
So actually, we do outreach. We're on the front lines. We are on a nationally known hotspot for human trafficking. We're on a track. And so we see girls out there walking every single day, all day. And so we do street outreach directly to these women and meet them wherever they're at, whether they're still in the situation of human trafficking, whether they're still in the commercial sex industry, or whether they're coming out to us. We just want to meet them wherever they're at in their journey and love on them and give them services.
Wow. So what's fascinating about what you just said is that you said that you meet people that are still in it and are going through this and then coming out of it. So how, if someone can come to you where you are, right, while they're still in the process of being human trafficked, why do they go back? Like, how does that work?
So So there's a thing called the stages of change model. And this is what we've learned, that anyone, even you or me, whenever we're trying to change a behavior, it takes time. It takes reasoning. It takes, you have to come to a conclusion of, I really want to make this choice. And so just like you and I, when we're trying to work out and we decide it's time to make a life change and I got to lose some weight, it takes us maybe months and months to even get to the place where we're actually taking those steps. And then once we even get there and we're going to the gym, we might relapse. And, December comes around and we're not going to the gym anymore and we are gaining the pounds back. And then we go back into the cycle again. But just like you and I, they're in the same place. They're having to make these big life changes about their behaviors, about all that they ever know. It takes time to realize that, hey, this is a choice that I need to make, even though it's something that's going to change my life completely. So we want to respect that, and we want to meet them, right where they're at and tell them, hey, we understand this is a huge thing that we're asking you to do. Change your entire life, all you've ever known. So we want to step with you every action that you take on this journey. And if it takes you 7 times before you actually, want to exit this life that you've known, we're going to be with you every single time. And when that 7th time comes, we're going to rejoice and celebrate with you and help you on the rest of your journey.
One thing that I think people don't understand who don't know human trafficking, these girls have been conditioned to believe that they are worthless, that they have no worth other than what they can do for someone. And if that's all you've heard your entire life, it's really hard to believe differently.
So true. So we're trying to empower those women, encourage those women, show them that there are people here that care about them and love them, even when they relapse, even when they go back. We want to be there no matter what.
So I guess this is where I'm a little confused, and maybe other people are watching share my thought or not. And guys, comment, join us, speak up so we can hear you, or join us here and ask your own questions. So I was under the impression that human trafficking is women being kidnapped, like Christina was just saying, against their will, which means that they can't leave whenever they want to, and find places like your safe house, right? To go through a process of like, oh, I shouldn't be trafficked. So where is my disconnect?
So, well, first of all, we are not actually a safe house. We're an open drop-in daytime center where they can come and go as they please. They don't have to, commit to a year or 2 years to come to us. They can walk in one day and come back 2 weeks later. And then the one thing that I would say is that most people think that human trafficking has a physical restraint. Like you said, they're locked up, they're kidnapped, they can't leave. But a lot of the women and men that we're seeing are having an emotional or a psychological constraint. So sure, they can physically maybe leave, but they are so trapped, kidnapped, with their minds and with their emotions. That's what's been manipulated. That's what's been taken advantage of. And so that's what we're trying to help, correct and change and show them that you don't have to keep going back to this person because you think that's the only person who cares for you or can provide you with a safe shelter or clothing or food. There are other people and other services that can help you get on the road to recovery and a different journey. It's just hard to get that when you don't believe that there is any other way.
One of the things that these pimps do, especially they work with young girls and young men on social media, they'll groom these kids.
Yes.
And they'll search out kids that are emotionally broken from abusive homes, who are poor, who, neglected. And they go and they prey on these kids. They convince them that they love them, that, I am the only person in your life who loves you. And you need to do this for me. You know what? You've displeased me. That's why you're getting beat, because you displeased me. But if you go away, nobody else is going to love you. They do such a mind job on these kids.
So they're preying on the vulnerable. So you want to empower them and say, you're worth, you have a lot of worth.
So where does the kidnapping, is there any kidnapping happening in that stuff? Like the trafficking sounds like, it's more kind of like you kidnap someone, you do a mental job on them, and then you are, prostitute them out or do something, but they can't really actually escape that situation because of, the distance and then because of the job. So how does that work?
So the human trafficking, there are so many different pieces of it. It's not an easy, explainable small thing. It's huge. And so you definitely do have those who have been kidnapped, who have been trafficked, even, brought over borders. You have those that are in houses or in brothels or in spas or massage parlors, and they are the ones that are kidnapped and they can't leave. Those are here in Houston, and those are, I'm sure, all across America and the world. And then you have those who, like I was explaining earlier, are walking the streets, and they're more of the manipulated, the mind, emotions. So you have both, and we can't fight just one or the other. We have to hit on both sides and all around. We have to be, serving these women and meeting them where they're at. And we also have to be targeting the men, the pimps, and the traffickers, but then we also have to be targeting the buyers.
Yes.
And we have to be targeting media that is, making a pornified culture that's feeding them into our youth and making them develop into a culture that thinks this is a glamorous thing. So it's so big and it's so hard, and that's why we need everybody to jump in, whether you're helping our organization, whether you're helping, UAHT that you heard from a while ago, whether you're helping any other thing in Houston. Everyone needs help, everyone needs support, and it doesn't matter where you're helping out, as long as you're jumping in and you're helping in some form or fashion.
And you brought up an interesting point there. If the demand dries up, people will stop selling little girls and little boys.
Absolutely.
The average age is around 12 of a prostitute, of a human trafficking in Houston is around 12.
Yeah, I would say what we can see from data-wise is a little bit older, about 14.
Okay.
But I know there are so many 12-year-olds and younger still being affected.
There are, I've heard stories from other organizations about, kids as young as 5 being sold to pay for drugs or to dig up. It's one of those things, if you think about it too hard, you start crying. But there are so many different facets of it. And you take part in on BizNet.
Yes.
Now, if you don't know, BizNet is actually considered to be like the red light district of America. It has more per average sex trafficking going on than anywhere else in the country.
Yeah.
Go Houston.
You guys are leading on so many fronts, right? You're leading on the
We got NASA, we got that.
But I would say, Houston is tagged as, number one hub, even though we don't have data showing it's the number one hub, but it's huge. Human trafficking is a big problem in our city. But it's also something that we have done so much work for. We are the only city in America that I know of that has a special advisor to the mayor on human trafficking, that has a strategic plan for our city to combat this issue. And so not only are we, really struggling with this issue, but we are one of the biggest and best cities that is actually working against it. So we have to give ourselves props for that, but there's still so much work that has to be done.
Wow. So I was totally not aware that women are being taken like that, and it becomes like more of a mental job, not just like a kidnapping job. And it makes me think that is it like kids in their own schools, right? You might be sitting next to a girl in high school that is going through this right now, right? How would you know if that's your high school mate is going through something and you can actually help her?
Social media also, I will just say, is a huge way that traffickers and pimps will groom. So if you're a parent out there and you have children that are on social media, take steps that you can to learn how to help your kids watch out for this kind of stuff. And if you're a child in school or you're a parent of a child in school, I think a big thing that would help is if you could, help us get into your schools. We have different organizations here in Houston that will talk to students, that will develop curriculums to help these kids and these parents know what to do. But it's really hard to get into the schools to speak or to teach courses. So we have Unbound Houston, we have UAHT, we have other organizations that are trying to get in, but it's hard to get in. So help us out, contact one of these organizations, contact your principals and your teachers, and get us into those schools so we can teach. There's an internet safety course that's coming up at the
it's a place here in Houston. I can't even remember where it is. The
We can
Children's
post it in the
Assessment Center. The Children's Assessment Center. They're giving a free course for parents and students of how to combat this in our schools and on social media. So look for those things and be willing to talk with your child about this, because if we keep it under the rug, it's only going to get bigger and bigger and become an even bigger issue. So yeah, speak out and help us.
So,
Elizabeth, do we have more time for? Oh, go ahead. Sorry. You were saying?
okay, do we have time? Do we have somebody live, or do we have a question?
No, actually, I have a question. My question is, like you saying, speak to your child and tell them about this. How would you do that? What would be the right way to start talking to your kid about human trafficking without freaking them out that they might be kidnapped?
Sure. Well, I'll firstly say I'm no parent. And so
Yeah.
I'm in no way, that's not our organization's specialty, so I'm not the expert on this. But I think I found this book. It's a book that some of us in this organization in this field use. It's called Good Pictures, Bad Pictures. And it's the very first way for young kids to just talk about how people, should appropriately be in contact with each other and your relationships with each other, whether that's peer-to-peer or teacher-to-peer. And so that's the first thing to do. Like, how do you have good relationships and set good boundaries? Who is able to talk to you in a certain way or touch you in a certain way that is appropriate? And then I think from there, as the child gets older, you start talking to them about how their peers are interacting with them, what they're saying to them, and especially on social media, talk about your friends with your parents and talk about your child's friends. Who are they? What are they doing together? What are they talking about? What are they watching? What are they listening to? Just because you care and you want to know what's affecting your child and what's impacting your child. And then when they get to an age that is appropriate to talk about sex and that sort of topic, don't be afraid to get out there and talk about it. It's not a bad thing. It's just been warped and manipulated to become a bad thing. So definitely I would check out Unbound Houston. I would check out UAHT. They have great curriculums and tips on how to talk to your kids about this kind of stuff. But start with the easy stuff. Talk with boundaries, start with appropriate relationships, and just know what your kids are watching and listening to. It matters.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So Elizabeth, who do we have next? And I hear myself twice.
So I think we lost you for a little bit there. I think you're back now, though. Next up, we are going to talk to some of our sponsors. So why don't we take a commercial break and you tell people more about the event and we'll go get the sponsor.
Sounds good to me. So guys, if you are watching us now live, and I know that you are because I can see that you're watching us. So first of all, thank you for joining us today and spending your time with us. If you have any advice of how would you talk to your child or any tips or tricks or anything, so there's a little bit I think right here on the top you can see our questions. You can join us and you can text your tips. You can see right here to be free. Just text your any tips or anything that can help. Hopefully you have not been in that situation, so you're not gonna it's not personal for you, hopefully, but you can help someone. So to do that, we are putting up a gala in Houston that you can join and you can grab your tickets. I'm going to share my screen for a second and you can grab your ticket right here on the page. So wherever you are, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, come to growthly.com/watch. You can also watch us. You can join us from right here and you can join the gala. You can also share. That'll be great. If you can support us and share this event, we get more and more people in front of it to actually help us, right? Spread the message, give the tips, and you may not know, but your neighbor or someone in your class, your kid's class, or someone in your own class might be a victim of human trafficking and you're not even aware, because I had no idea that people can be sitting in an American school and be involved in this type of thing. So thanks for today's show. I'm aware of that, and now I know what to look for. So hopefully that's something that you guys are getting. And we can switch to Elizabeth again. Elizabeth, not Elizabeth, Christina, hey.
I'm back.
Welcome back. So who's sitting next to you?
So this is Angelica. She is our caterer for the event. And I'll have her talk a little bit about why she chose to work with us. She's donating her services for the gala and art show, and we can't be more grateful for your support for this event because it's such a huge, important cause for Houston.
Thank you very much for inviting us. We are very, very honored to be here. For us, it's very important to support this cause because we know how it is. I am from Mexico, and I know a lot of people that goes through this. So to me, it's very important.
Awesome.
Wow. So I'm not gonna. When is the gala, and what are we gonna eat? I think that's the question of everybody's mind now.
Oh,
What are we eating in the gala?
okay. You cut out there for a second. You thought, what was that?
So I care about food, and I think a lot of people who are watching are going to be like, okay, what's for lunch?
What's
That day we're gonna have, it's a surprise so everybody can attend. You're gonna be very happy with our food. For lunch today, we had to cater about 500 people, so I lost count of that.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what your catering business does?
Yes, our company concentrates in corporate catering. We do special events. We cater to schools like and nonprofit organizations. We also do cafeteria services. Like, when you go to a school and you go to a cafeteria, that's what we do.
Okay.
They contract people like us to be in there. We also do special events, weddings, anniversaries, all type of events where food is needed.
All that good stuff.
Yes.
I do want to give a few shout outs to not just to Snapper Jacks for the catering, but to Icon for they're completely donating the bartenders, and all of the drinks that night. So we're able to have the refreshments to go along with the amazing food that we're going to have that night too. And then also Kendra Scott is donating some raffle items that I'm really excited about. We have a DJ coming, and everyone is donating their services aside from the artists that are donating their pieces.
That's amazing, and it's amazing to see how many people are getting behind this cause and supporting it. So if you guys, this is happening next Wednesday. Is that right, Christina? Next Wednesday.
No, it's 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks. So 2 weeks from now. So you guys have plenty of time to clear your calendar, and it's going to be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Growthly, where these guys are live now. You can join there. We're there right now, and actually we can see that. So we can see right behind them. You see, this is the place with beautiful, beautiful green chairs and wood floors and nice, really amazing plants. It's really, really nice. 2 weeks from now, Wednesday, 6 p.m. at Growthly. You guys can find out the address right on the page. There are buttons all over the place that sends you to this place. And you can join and help basically end slavery, because this is what it is, right? It's like slavery of the body and slavery of the mind. It's amazing.
Yeah, it'll be a great night, not just for awareness, but to mingle with fellow Houstonites that are excited about giving back to these organizations and just supporting the cause. 100% of every ticket, due to sponsors like Snapper Jacks, is able to go back to the organizations that they're benefiting, and we're selling the art, and so all of the money from the art will also go back into the cause too.
That's fascinating, and that art is so beautiful. We just saw what it looks like, so that's really amazing. The food is going to be a surprise, and there are going to be goodie bags that you guys can get, and you're going to meet all these amazing people that you see here today. Learn more about human trafficking and how to stop that. So men, women, teenagers will not be suffering from this type of experiences, hopefully again, ever, right? If that was my wish, nobody ever taken against their will.
Exactly, that's the goal.
So do we have, you just made me want to go and have lunch. So do we have any, who's our next guest?
I think that's it. I think those are all the guests for today.
That's awesome. Well, you it's just on time because I'm sure you just made all of us kind of like salivate with the idea of like awesome lunch coming up. For you guys, it's gonna be dinner. So that's great. So Elizabeth, do you want to say something for the end?
Yes.
Yeah, Elizabeth? No? Want to jump in? Christina, you're gonna turn us off. Okay. Send us off. Can you hear me? No. So Christina, send us off. Oh, are we complete? Elizabeth, are we complete? Christina, are we complete? Yes.
Okay. You're cutting in and out, but thanks for having us on.
Thank you. And join us.
So thank you, ladies. Thank you, everybody who watched us. Please click the links and make your next date night in Houston supporting these causes. So thanks so much, and hopefully we'll see you on the next Sports Hour.